It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. Titans at Nissan Stadium over the weekend for an open training camp practice. Cam Ward flashed in several moments throughout the practice. Wasn't all good news, though, as Titans wide receiver Traylon Burks suffered a fractured collarbone in the practice and will not be back in time for the start of the season. With Burks out for a lengthy stretch, the team signed former Vols and Las Vegas Raiders wide receiver Ramel Keaton to the roster on Saturday. Nashville Soccer Club back on the pitch this past Friday as they fell 1-0 to San Diego. NSC back at Geodis Park this weekend as they take on Premier League side Aston Villa in a friendly. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. For your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. And if you're watching on the Zone TV, FNM Bank Chat, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live, you'll be able to see that I was out on the field for Saturday's practice because I have a nice little sunburn probably across my head, and you may be able to see a little bit on my neck. But we got a lot to talk about from that. We got padded practices starting up this week. We'll get to all that and what we have seen. But Blaine, do you have that friend that you guys kind of talk and you're discussing stuff and you start working yourself into a frenzy because you start thinking about one thing and it keeps leading to another and another and another. And sometimes I get worked up into a frenzy. And I don't know if you have that friend, but, I was talking to Stoney about some Titans stuff this morning, and it's like one thing, I say one thing, he says another, I say another, and we just kind of like get into this frenzy, and it has to do with this pass rush. and I am a little annoyed with this kind of, I don't know if it's necessarily excuse making or blaming bad luck, but this missed sack stat that they keep bringing up, we've missed a lot of sacks last year. Oh. We missed a lot of sacks, the Tennessee Titans defense. It's kind of annoyed me to a point to where...
You went back and watched every game to see missed sacks.
No,
that's what he should have done.
That's what it's going to do because he's watching... So I'm going through and trying to figure out, how many sacks they lost, how many sacks did they replace, and I'm doing this and that. And then he sends to me that he's going through Draymond Jones tape. He's watching Draymond Jones sacks and pressures and all this stuff last year. And I'm like, this missed sack stat kind of annoys me because the way that's being presented, and maybe this is not the intent, but the way it's being presented, at least the way I'm taking it in, is that they're kind of like, well, we just had some bad luck on sacks. And I'm kind of thinking... Is it bad luck or is it that your guys didn't finish? Or is it that your guys weren't very good at sacking the quarterback? And I get to a point where it's like, okay, they haven't really explained how they plan to fix that. If it's a technique issue, if it's a finishing issue, if it's a scheme issue, they haven't really said how they fix it. They just keep saying, well, we had a lot of missed sacks last year. And I'm trying to think, I don't really feel like outside of that, like Drake May, and maybe there's probably a handful of others, is that going to take you to where you need to go on a defense if those missed sacks turn around? I don't know, but I don't know. I'm just taking it in. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. So I wanted to get your take on it. But they keep bringing it up, and I'm kind of like annoyed by it because we don't have a real clarity what it means or how they plan to really correct it.
Well, let's first start. Where did they say this?
Press conferences.
No, I'm talking about recently.
Last week, Brian Callahan, I believe, said it.
So we talking about all last week?
And then there was the last time we heard Denard Wilson talk, I believe he brought it up as well. And I think Brian Callahan's brought it up a few times throughout the offseason so far.
Okay. Well, I haven't. It doesn't annoy me. I don't know if I will be presenting it that way, but you just go back and look at the tape. If it annoys you that much, to me, you go back and watch all the film and see how many.
Well, it started annoying me on my way into the.
I'd start counting every single sack they missed. Yeah. I'm like, okay, it was only like 5 here. Another, if it was non-factor, like, Now, if they were sacks that they missed that carried on a drive that led to a touchdown, was it one that actually got them a touchdown, like the Drake made? You keep bringing it because everybody can kind of remember that, to take it to overtime, right? So that there, I don't know. I'm not in the business of excuse making. That's just not my style. So I just, hey, it is what it is. It's face value. A lot of people don't like face value. They don't like you telling them, in their face that, oh man, you shouldn't have said that. Hey, you shouldn't have pushed back. I'm the boss, and you shouldn't have pushed back, even though you're right. Bye, fire. Yeah. See, so it is what it is. So I don't get annoyed by what people say, because I know what's the truth.
Yeah, and this really, I mean,
the truth is they didn't have the numbers and they didn't get it done. Period. Because nothing went around.
This was on my way into work, so I haven't been able to do what you're talking about, go back and watch. But I'm just trying to go back in my head and think about how many times were we actually back there near the quarterback and we missed the sack. And I cannot think that it's enough to take you from 32 sack defense to, roughly in the middle around. I can't really think that it's got to be like 15 to 20 sacks missed. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll go back and I'll watch the film and I'll see all these missed sacks. But then it takes me to this. You let Harold Landry go, who had 9 sacks. Kenneth Murray had 3.5 sacks off of that. You had 12.5 sacks right there. And you got 4 people in Cody Barton, Draymond Jones, Femi Oladejo, which you may not be able to really count because these are college sacks, and you have Jihad Ward. Well, those guys add up to like 10.5 to 11.5 sacks. So those 4 guys don't even match the 2 guys that you let go, and one of those was Kenneth Murray, and we know that Cody Barton is better than Kenneth Murray in other ways. But again, we're talking about sacks, ending drives, turnovers, pressures, and all this stuff. It gets to a point where I'm just like, I still really do not understand this entire pass rush philosophy. And maybe I just need to let it go and understand that, hey, this pass rush is probably going to be dead last in a lot of metrics. Maybe it'll just be 28th in a lot of metrics. I don't know. It sounds
like you just want to look at the metrics instead of going back and looking at the game and see if they're
I'm going to go back and look at the film. I just, like I said, I start one way and I got to, I go in my path. My path always takes me
I mean, you can look at it a lot of different ways. It just depends on the angle. Just like the Shamor Stewart guy that just signed with the Bengals. He had 0 sacks, but you go watch him play, I'd want him on my team. But see, if you look at your matrix that you use, you say he has no sacks. So he's not any good. But if you turn on the tape, it's pretty clear that this guy's pretty freaking good. And obviously the NFL thought he was, and he went first round. Yeah. So the matrix isn't everything. So whether you're looking at from Denard Wilson's lens or just from a fan perspective, the numbers aren't always telling you everything that's happened. Now, at some point, you got to get guys on the ground. That's what I'd be saying. We had some opportunities we missed, and we got to get guys on the ground. Now, hopefully the group we have this year can get them on the ground. Doesn't mean what they did in the last year is going to be as good as this year or the previous year, or they will be not as good. So it's unpredictable. While 1 year you got the same group of guys on the team, entire team, offense and defensively, then all of a sudden you have a losing season. Why do you think that happens? Because everything is not the same. Every year is a new year, so they're hoping that the moves that they made within their restrictions of what they did, I'm sure, they're hoping it's better, as a group. That's all I can say. Other than that, that's how I'd be presenting it.
Yeah.
I mean, because, hey, we in this league, it's the quarterback, and it's putting the quarterback down and putting pressure. At the end of the day, you can't do that and stop the run and run the football, you're screwed. It hasn't changed over numerous years. It's just the way this league is. We can talk about we throw all the time, but they got to still be able to run just enough to keep you honest. See, so it is still there.
It's the same present, different gift wrapping.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because everybody thinks that, I mean, it is a passing matters, right? We're not saying passing doesn't matter.
See, that's what the Grand Poobah is supposed to say.
Yeah.
See, guys like that, they want that title, they got to say stuff like that.
He did have his microphone flashing, and so he wanted to talk.
You know,
but
I
don't
got
know what he wanted to
and
say.
I did not see a light flashing. So
what you got?
This was going back. I would have really liked to see Cody Barton and Kenneth Murray play together because I thought Kenneth Murray was at his best when he had Ernest Jones with him. So I think that pairing, I would have probably liked to keep Kenneth Murray here for one more year because he can provide that pressure. And if he's not the, green dot guy or calling the plays, he can just play with his hair on fire. I think he adds something to the pass rush that they're going to need, particularly this season.
I agree. Yeah.
I think James Williams can be that guy, but we'll have to see. Like, I think that's kind of, I guess, where I'm kind of at with a lot of these things is like, hey, this looks good, but we'll see. They look great without pads on, but we'll see. It's just that I guess maybe I'm just more annoyed, not with the idea that they didn't get sacks and all this stuff. I'm more annoyed with how they're presenting last year because it feels like to me that this missed sack stat that they have talked about just feels a little bit like it kind of feels like luck. And luck is not a strategy. Hope is not a strategy. And we'll see if their strategy of what they're trying to lay out is these third and longs. We're going to get everybody in the third and longs works, but you can also get teams in third and longs and not put pressure on them and not do anything with it a lot of the time. And I'm kind of worried that this team is not built to take advantage of third and longs right now. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, that's always going to be a concern when you don't have the we call them the horses to get after the quarterback. I mean, so, you're always concerned with that because they know inside that building, and every building in the NFL, if you can't pressure the quarterback, you're going to get screwed. I'm sorry. These guys are too good. I don't care. You're going to be in a world of hurt. So if they feel like they've done enough, obviously you always can do better. Did they sign anybody since the guy retired?
They signed that Jihad Ward guy. Mm-hmm. The guy, remember, because they went from zero sacks to one sack.
Right,
just facetious.
Yeah. So who are you going to get at this point? I mean, really, that can make a difference.
And again, it all comes down to Zadarius Smith. But again, you're likely not going to get him on this team unless you're going to overpay. Mm-hmm. And that's about it. And because I do think that he is waiting for a bigger, better opportunity elsewhere, like most veterans his age do at this time of year. Yeah. They're looking for that right mix of timing, opportunity, and playoff contention when you're at that age. Sometimes, when you're that good of a player, and he is that good of a player to be able to do that. But for the Tennessee Titans to get that kind of guy, you have to overpay and find a spot for him. And with Draymond Jones, who you're already paying, you probably would pay Zadarius Smith $4 or $5 million more, just off the cuff of my head. But you're already paying a lot to Draymond Jones, right? So, and then you invested second round pick of Femi Oladejo. So it's kind of like that. It just doesn't fit for the Titans to go out and get Zadarius Smith. So really, the horses that you're talking about, they're the ones you're riding with the rest of the way, and that's Draymond Jones, Arden Key, Femi Oladejo, and whatever happens behind those guys. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's another question I'd love to ask Callahan, and it's not about the now. It's about, do you think you addressed the pass rush enough this offseason to be an impactful pass rush group? Because that's a fair question. I felt like they should have signed someone who for sure can get you 6-7 sacks. That's proven in this league. I just, I feel like they needed somebody else. They're not going to pay somebody that they can really impact it. But I mean, if you want to say, okay, I want to cut the half pay of what I was paying Landry because we can get the same production out of another player, who is that guy? And then you say, oh, okay, you're going to do it by a group. Okay, 3-4 by each guy. Well, I mean, these guys have showed over their history they're kind of not even that. They're good players, but they're not that guy. So do you, again, think you've done enough in the offseason? Because right now it's patchwork. Now it's, You got to trade for somebody, which nobody's going to give up a pass rusher, or it's like tackle, or you're going to sign a journeyman guy, and you don't really know if he still got enough in the tank. You're going to say, oh, well, he did last year. He got 6 sacks. And you say, well, he could just fall off a cliff and get you 2.
Yeah.
And then you felt like,
and that's
I
been the
could've-
Tennessee Titans MO, by the
Right.
way.
It never fails.
It never fails.
It's just like, dang it, almost like, signing a over-the-hill wide receiver.
Right.
So it's just, I just don't think they did enough there for me to make me feel comfortable at all. They're really relying on Femi to be what he was taken in the draft, a second-round impact player.
And really they're going to be relying on Jeffrey Simmons, new look Jeffrey Simmons, to make a bigger impact in the pass rush side than he has.
He looked good, boy.
He does look good. I mean, he looks good. The issue that I am concerned with is that he was already talking about all these double teams, and he did get double teamed. There's still nobody here to alleviate that problem. So now he's going to have to start winning those double teams at a little bit higher rate than he has been. And maybe this new look Jeffrey Simmons will help with that. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion with Tennessee Titans. We still got our practice observations to get to. We got Luke on the phone line. We'll get to him when we come back. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door, 615-737-1045. We're talking a lot about the Tennessee Titans defense. But first, before we tell you some stuff that we may have discovered over the break, we're first going to go to Luke, who wants to talk about the cornerbacks. Luke, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Driving, so I couldn't look up the whole corner roster right now. But with everything going on with Snead, I'm assuming we're going to keep McCreary. And, where does that put him and Brownlee? Like, who's going to be nickel? Or what are we going to do? Are we starting that new kid from Cal? And just kind of what's the situation with our corners minus Snead, which we're not sure if he's even going to be ready week 1. I'll hang up and listen. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Luke. Jarvis Brownlee Jr., Darryl Baker Jr., and Roger McCreary in the slot is how, or the nickelback is how I would view your starting 3 without L'Jarius Sneed.
Yeah, Brownlee's been outside the whole time.
Yeah.
So McCreary's been inside. Yeah.
Yeah, L'Jarius Sneed was out on the field on Saturday's practice, walking around, talking to a few people, but that was about all he did.
Did you observe his walk? Did he have?
Oh, you know what? I wasn't even paying attention.
Oh, Jackson!
And I was right. He was right in front of me. I actually went over to the other side of the field where he was walking, and I did not even think to look at his gait.
How was he walking, Zach?
I don't know. He looked normal, I guess. I didn't notice anything.
Nah, he looked fine.
Yeah. But you're right. I should have been paying attention to it. But yeah, I mean, he looked normal, I guess.
Yeah. I didn't see any.
In good spirits. No wincing.
There. Yeah. He was signing autographs. He looked like he was fine. He's out there on his feet.
So we were trying to find maybe some silver lining during the talk, during the break about this pass rush. And, Mike Bergonzi came from the Chiefs. We're kind of running through the roster and all this kind of stuff just off the top of our head. We knew, obviously, Chris Jones and George Karlaftis, who just got an extension and everything. But, they were a team during the regular season that had 7 more sacks than Tennessee Titans, so 39-32. But they had 80 more pressures than the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans didn't even get to 100 pressures according to ProFootballReference.com. Meanwhile, the Kansas City Chiefs were 5th in pressure rate with 171 to the Tennessee Titans 91. Oh. But they're doing it with guys that Treshawn Wharton, Michael Dana, Mike Pinnell, Felix Uzoma, guys that we aren't really household names. You may know them, but they're not household names.
And they didn't have big numbers either.
No, because you look at Treshawn Wharton, 6.5 sacks. George Karlaftis led the Kansas City Chiefs with 8. Chris Jones had 5. But Chris Jones, obviously has way more pressures and all that kind of stuff than just 5 sacks. But
and playoffs aren't on there, right?
Yeah, no playoffs are on here. So it is just the regular season. So 80 more pressures than Tennessee Titans, but just 7 more sacks. And I think that's the big difference. And again, to your point, you got to get the ball on the ground. You got to get the quarterback on the ground. But really, pressures are just as important as sacks. And 80 sacks is a wide gap.
80 pressures.
80 pressures, sorry. 80 pressures.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what they're trying to do, is just generate more pressures and hope the opportunities come off the pressures, which may not be a bad philosophy. I just don't know if they got the guys to do that with.
Yeah, but the pressures is almost as good as the sack, because you'll get the guy, you're messing up timing. You have them a little bit rattle they're not comfortable. These are all the things that you want to make the quarterback do and make him miss his spots. He's throwing to these spots, and hopefully you get on, somebody on the wrong page, and then that's when mistakes happen. So then they start pressing and try to, do some of the Will Levis type things. So you're just always trying to get guys in that situation. We didn't have enough pressure.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. Even on some of the blitz things, it's almost like they knew we were going to blitz, and where to max protect and everything else.
So. It's very easy for the offensive line to maybe pick up everything. Identify and pick up the defenders. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Dean, who wants to talk about Tennessee Titans. Dean, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Fellas, it seemed like Denard put so much emphasis on the pressures which you need to, without much success. But once that running back got through the front line, he had no defense set up from the goal line back. Once he was through the line, they were off to the races. So many times do we have records of how many long runs we give up.
I could probably find that. I'll do that during the break and find that, Dean, if you'll. We'll do that at the last thing, because they're kind of to Dean's point. That's kind of what they're been talking about, is stopping the run, leading to, third and long, and they seem built for that. I mean, we'll see if people can stick to their run fits and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, now. Okay. We'll see if these guys can all stick to the run fits, because that was a big thing last year. Was like guys were out of place and maybe not as disciplined in their run fits and assignments. We'll see if that changes. And that seems like a great theory, but it seems like sometimes this Tennessee Titans staff gets a theory in their head or gets a plan in their head, and that's the only thing they can see, is that they get like tunnel vision, I guess you could say. And at least that's my perspective with it.
Well, I'm not sure, because it seems like they started off pretty decent against the run. Then as time went on, you got to the third, fourth game. I don't remember the numbers. They were showing slippage and guys starting to be able to run. You could really see it in the Commanders game, and naturally then after that game following that, which was later down in the year. But just slowly, maybe it was just some wear and tear. Then he had the linebackers injured. But they were showing signs even early that the people could run the football. And if you can't stop the run on defense, you are screwed. I'm just sorry. If we couldn't stop the run, man, it's like this puzzle. We're like, everything we're doing, they have an answer. And that is not a good feeling when you're out there as a player. So, because you really then start trying, overcompensating, trying really too hard to stop them. So sometimes it's scheme, sometimes it's players when we're talking about stopping the run. And then that opens up the two-way street of a run and pass. And then you have to kind of show your blitz. So I think that's kind of what happened. I don't know if they have the players to now pin their ears back and say, okay, we're going to stuff the run. We're going to force you to pass, and whether we get sacks or not, we're going to get pressure. It sounds like that is their plan, theoretically from afar. But I don't know. I would have addressed him with a veteran player this offseason, a solid, proved guy. He's going to get me 6 sacks. That's my low bar. I got to get that from this guy. If you wanted to go lesser price than Landry. Landry was a good 2. He wasn't a 1, and they were paying him 1 money. That's why that move was made. But, man, I sure would have hoped that I could. See, that's why when you go with the Cam Ward first, then there's no other option. Then you try to flip it and go with the pass rusher 2. And that's why they somewhat reached on Femi.
Yep. To the Dean's question, the Tennessee Titans last year allowed the Tennessee Titans defense allowed the 4th most runs of 20-plus yards or more.
Wow.
18 runs. Cleveland was first in 2022. The Giants had 19 at second place. And the Saints and the Tennessee Titans both were at 18.
18 runs.
18 runs. And they allowed 6 touchdowns off those runs, and that's the highest touchdowns allowed of 20-plus runs, 20-plus yards or more. So, 18. So maybe they have a point here, right? Like 18 runs. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're like, okay, we can stop the bleeding here. And every one of those runs obviously were for first down too, right? Like not only that, first downs, but also touchdowns. And you gave up 6, and they had a few one-score games too, right? Some of these are probably the Lions game where it got really out of hand, or maybe the Bills. It doesn't tell me which games they all are, but at the same time, that's maybe 18 plays that changed how this defense views the run game, right? Like how good they were against the run. So we'll see, because they allowed, we'll just see. Because you look at it and they have allowed the 7th most yards per game. The Panthers were the first but they allowed 133.9 yards per game on the ground. And that's been very uncharacteristic of a Tennessee Titans defense for a long time. A long time they prided themselves on stopping the run. We even heard Jeffrey Simmons say, nobody runs on the Tennessee Titans. And listen, maybe the Colts game really skews this number, but still, that game has to count. You can't start eliminating outlier games because guess what? Those players still played this game against the Colts. So it's, we'll see. We'll see if this plan works for this team. I hope it does because, man, the Tennessee Titans defense really has to get after the quarterback because they're going to play some really good quarterbacks this year. And I'm sure C.J. Stroud will bounce back. We don't know what Trevor Lawrence is going to look like as well. So, like those two guys, you play 4 games together, you need to get them on the ground, and especially maybe this Texans team that doesn't have, on paper, the greatest offensive line around, and it's kind of you got to start taking advantage of those kinds of matchups and those kinds of teams because they don't come out very often in a 17-game season.
Yeah, hearing that 18 runs over 20-plus yards, I'd be throwing stuff at the chalkboard on that. I mean, you cannot win in this league giving up. I mean, I remember we would go games with nobody getting a 20-yard run. Games. And I'm not talking about, I'm talking about in the past game too.
Yeah.
And so that is the recipe for disaster. That stat says it all. And that's why they're doing what they're doing then. That is why they're doing what they're doing. And they're going, well, okay, well, we can put pressure. We can manufacture pressure. But if we can't stop the run, we are screwed. There is no way in heck you can win in this game. You can't stop the run.
Yeah. And to be honest, on the flip side, Tennessee Titans ranked near the bottom, 8 runs of their own of 20-plus yards. So you're talking about a 10, basically a 10, minus 10 differential in explosive plays on the ground.
Well, that's the offensive side.
Yeah, true. Right.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying when
you wasn't getting it back anywhere.
You weren't getting it back anywhere. So when you don't, goes back again to complementary football. This team just never played complementary football, really, except for maybe 1 or 2 games out of the year.
20-plus passing.
It was, hold on, 44, I believe.
They had 44, 20-plus.
Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken.
20.
I will pull that up here in just a second.
You know that off the top of your head?
That's a lot.
They had 52 explosive plays is what I read on NFL.com the other day. And so if there's 8 runs, that would mean 44 the other way. And
I thought it was 18 runs.
They had 8. Are you talking about allowing?
No, I'm just talking about the offense.
The offense. According to this website, the NFL.com had 44. This has 43. So
they were up there.
Which is near the bottom, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as numbers, y'all were close, yeah.
But they had 43 in the defense. That's where they were the third best. They only allowed 42. Now, that sounds like a lot, but they were third best. 35 for Philadelphia, 39 for San Francisco, and 42 for both Tennessee and Miami. So they were the best in pass defense limiting explosives, which does show up on tape.
A lot of short fields.
That is true too. A lot of advantageous situations for the offense already because they were sometimes field position comes into play. But
short field though, that meant there shouldn't be a big play. It should have been over 25 yards.
Well, when you're starting at the 23, you can't. It throws me back to the Lions game. Titans and Lions.
Was horrendous. That was the worst game by far.
They didn't have nearly as many explosive plays as they could have because they kept starting inside the Titans 25 and just scoring from there.
Yeah, all I think about is those pick plays they were running. I can remember it off the top of my head. I'm still mad at Hooker for that.
Yeah.
See, I just think about the safety position. Like, hey man, y'all got to communicate it. There's no way. You see, it's a tight split. In and out, in and out, in and out. As soon as they do steps that way, we are locked on to this guy.
Yeah.
It's just second nature. It's just got to happen.
And maybe that happens now this year. Better communication, maybe. I don't know.
Second year in schemes.
Yeah, second year in the scheme.
Both sides.
There's some stuff that maybe we can write off. We'll find out this year that maybe we can write off to first year play caller, first year in the scheme, new players in and out of the lineup, right, all the time because of injuries, players getting traded, players going down with injuries, all this stuff. Maybe there is some stuff that will get chalked up, but it will be real interesting to see what happens this year because injuries are inevitable, right? I mean, there's only so many times you can use injuries as an excuse.
Jackson, you ready?
And all that kind of
Left
stuff.
tackle.
Oh, I thought corner.
Well, okay, I'll go guard.
You never know. Maybe that
Wide
works.
receiver?
Maybe wide receiver. I don't know. We'll see. There's just so many moving pieces and so many unanswered questions. I'm just not sure what's real, what's not real until we see what happens this year. Because if it's more of the same old, then we know what's kind of right, what's real and what's not. Because the pieces are different. You had a full off season to get your guys. Because it kind of felt like maybe last year wasn't the right guys and the right fit for your puzzle or what your scheme and all that kind of stuff. But now you got allegedly, on paper, theoretically, your guys. So what does that look like for this team? We will see. I'm not sure.
Yeah, as I said before, I'm not a big proponent of the your guy.
Yeah.
I get why you're saying that, and there's some parts of that, but to me, when you understand what your players are, you then don't put them in positions that they're uncomfortable with and that, you make sacrifices to help them out offensively and defensively. So I think if you want to win, that kind of is what make coaches really good. I think Bill Belichick was, some of the best. And then you got to evaluate your guys and be true to who they are and understand what they are. So
that's a very good point, by the way, bringing up Bill Belichick.
Yeah,
We were talking about Julian Edelman, Troy Brown, all these guys that he kind of moved around. And then you saw these tweaks in the offense that benefited everybody.
Sharp passing game. I mean, so I just think, there's a lot to learn sometimes. And I can tell you, I keep saying this, you can watch film and think this of a player, and then all of a sudden you get him in person like, ooh, I don't know. He really is better at this than this. In my system, we got to use him like this.
Yeah.
So I think matching all those things up were all kind of new. But I just don't like the excuse making and all that.
I'm with you.
Here's why I say that, because every dude that was on the team last year, they was already in the league. So obviously they were league level. Now, whether they should be first string, second string is a totally different story. But they were in this league and had production. So that, we can't say we didn't get the guy. Now, you can't predict, what's going to happen at left tackle or right tackle or through injuries, but you're supposed to have pieces in place that can at least buy you time to get by. Like now that Traylon Burks is injured, nobody's worried about, oh, man, we were living for the first round pick. No, but we're going to keep it moving.
Yeah.
Going to keep it chugging. If he comes back whenever he comes back, but this train is not stopping. And that's kind of how you have to be. So I think there was a lot of newness and learning at the same time from the coaching staff, all from top to bottom. We forget. What Moten on the team last year? Was that 2 years? That was last year, right?
He
got cut.
Preseason.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Right. So in their mind, he couldn't play. Well, he showed she could play when he went to the Chargers.
I try to tell people he could play. Nobody ever listens.
I think I say that too. And I go, man, look, he had some bad luck with the groin tears and everything else, surgeries, but the guy can actually play. Let's be patient. The guy's kind of a jack of all trades. He could play nickel. He could play safety. He could play special teams. So you go, that's a piece that is really valuable to a team. Even if he's not a starter, that guy is a piece that you want to work with. Then they get him up, and then he gets a long-term deal and has his career year.
Well, and then look
he
at
stayed
this.
healthy, by the way. Now, he did miss some game, but he didn't have anything where he had to miss for a long period of time.
Well, and then who went down for the Tennessee Titans? Quandre Diggs. Right? And then I think Mike Brown did a serviceable job.
Well, they had their piece, and remember, he left. They cut him. Who was that?
Jamal Adams, which is kind of the reason why Elijah Molden kind of left.
Right.
And
they made that choice.
They made that choice. And then think about it this way. And listen, Tennessee Titans may be better off like this, but what if Elijah Molden had done what he did with the Chargers? He got a little bit of an extension. You were able to use that third round pick on a wide receiver or use that third round pick on something else. And I love Kevin. I'm not saying that Kevin Winston's not going to be good or I hate Kevin Winston. I'm just thinking about it from a team building perspective and a ripple effect one decision can make.
I would agree with that. So and Winston,
and maybe they'll be better off too. I mean, like
you never know. That's where sometimes timing and luck for especially players really means a lot. But I just think there was a lot of newness and not knowing really what those players were, including Levis. I think he thought he could really play with Levis until you realize, mentally he was still a young quarterback that still hadn't figured it out yet.
Yeah. Kind of like Tom Hanks and Big. There you go. When we come back, we'll go to Titans Phil. He wants to talk about the defensive coordinator position. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Titans Phil, who wants to talk about the defensive coordinator. Titans Phil, you're on with Blaine and Zach, and thanks for waiting.
I'll tell you one thing, that was probably the reason why we had 3-14 season. If there's anybody that I'm holding responsible for the defensive failure, it's that defensive coordinator they got from the Baltimore Ravens.
I mean, it starts with the top, I guess, to your point, Titans Phil. He says that he holds the defensive coordinator accountable, or the most accountable, for the defensive failures of the team in last year. And I mean, you would say the same thing. Really, you should probably hold Brian Callahan the most accountable for the failures of the offense as well. So, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with that or anything. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it always goes to the top. So, yeah, that will never change. So, whoever's the play caller has to take responsibility, whether you're teaching them it or not, and they're not getting it done. Then ultimately, that's when you have the opportunity in the offseason, which they did, to talk about adjustments and guys who don't fit their scheme and what they need to be upgraded in. And I'm sure that was a long conversation on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
So they decided to go in a direction where Landry wasn't good enough based off of his salary that he was collecting, and that they could probably do it with multiple and be a little bit, bigger and tougher against the run game. I think that's what that conversation went, if I was making a guess.
And to be honest, that's kind of how the Ravens are built too, right? I mean, they're built like a team that, Kyle Van Noy, I think, led them in sacks last year, and he's like 33 or 34. Yeah, I think he led them in sacks last year. But what I'm saying is that it's not with premier guys. We go back to the Kansas City thing.
But they didn't get premier guys, though.
No.
I mean, or, underachieve, or guys who are good, solid players.
Yeah.
They didn't even get that. These guys, they're solid maybe against the run.
Right.
But they're not putting up sack numbers.
No.
Yeah, but here's the part that is a little, we're trying to compare them to
really good teams.
Right. I mean, the Ravens, they're a Super Bowl contender team. They've done this year after year of having these journeyman type. They got how many sacks out of Clowney? I think he got 9 when he was there. How many did he get with us? 0.
Right.
It was a different coaching staff, but I'm just saying, for whatever reason, maybe their scheme and system or their coaching style is a little bit different from whatever the Titans have done, not only this year and last year, but the years before that. So they're getting more production. Maybe they have a better eye for that type of player.
Right.
That's what I really get out of all that. So, yeah, I mean, man, when I saw Clowney, I said he looked like a totally different player with them. So I just, so hopefully Berganzi and those guys, it'll be frustrating if we start the season and we're not getting any pressure. And then you beholden to the DC because he's going to say, well, we got to create pressure. And then you're leaving guys out on an island.
Yeah.
And that's hence then you talk about the Snead and everything else. So, that's why you got to have really good players at every level of your offense and defense. You got to have at least one elite, like people got to go and say, hey, man, this dude's a good player. Like that's happening. I mean, they got to have it from every level on offense and defense. You got to have it. Everybody, the Dolphins, they're saying, "Oh, really? He's he could take over this game now if we let him." Hey, so they go, we get it, but they don't have that second threat. See, so where's the second threat? Who's going to step up to the plate?
Right.
Know what you got in Pollard, good, solid running back in the National Football League. Hopefully, we're gonna get to see what's happening with this offensive line.
Yeah.
And then Cam got to continue to develop and grow into what everybody thinks he can be, which I think is at least a good, solid starting quarterback in the National Football League.
We got a little bit of NFL breaking news.
Titans?
The Broncos and wide receiver Cortland Sutton have reached agreement on a 4-year, $92 million extension. Sutton was holding out.
That's it. See, I'm going to have to start siding with Blaine here if you don't give us some more information on this. I mean,
4 years, $92 million.
there we go. All right. I mean, gotta give us a little bit more information there if you want to be Grand Poobah from here on.
That was a lot of information.
Well,
Well, at the end there with the 4-year 92.
Yeah.
That's what I said at the beginning.
I don't know about Cortland Sutton. I think he's just he's kind of like, I guess, a wide receiver too for me. And I look at Cortland Sutton and I think injuries are really what kind of derailed him for a while. And I'm interested to see if he continues building up with Bo Nix, coming off an 1,000-yard season and 8 touchdowns last year under Bo Nix, and with Bo Nix under center. And this scheme with Sean Payton, very wide receiver friendly too. He's been kind of in contract status a lot with Denver, every so often. We'll see what this looks like, but it's not my money, I guess.
Well, I mean, he was a high drafted pick, if I can remember, SMU, right? Or somewhere like that. And because I was like, oh, man. And then he tore his ACL.
SMU, second round, 40th overall.
Yeah, so he's a talented player. I think he's kind of played exactly where I thought he'd be. And, that's the going rate now. I mean, what's Ridley's contract? Didn't he get 4-year, 90 or something?
Yeah.
Like that? So, yeah, I think he can be a little more productive player just because his size and length. He stay healthy. I think, I don't have any issue with it. I think he's a 1B. Yeah, I think he's exactly that. Yeah, so I'm cool with it. Then he had a productive year first year with Knicks. Sean Payton always has, is wide receiver friendly, but he always has probably one taller receiver that, Colston, and that kind of gives you more production than you think is it based off of his talent. So, he could be hitting his stride too, Cortland, because, now it's been a couple years since the ACL and he's right back where he was when he, earlier when he was in the league. So, yeah, I think I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously their leading receiver, 1,081 yards. Next guy down was Marvin Mims, 503 yards. Devon Vell, 475 yards behind him. So it'll be really interesting to see how that all changes for this team this year, because you're going to need at least someone to get up close to at least that 1,000-yard to continue to have the success and growth you need from Bo Nix.
Yeah. Did they draft anybody or did they sign some veterans or... that's kind of interesting. I like Mims coming out, too.
I did. I liked Mims. I like that Vell kid, too. They signed Trent Sherfield, but they drafted Pat Bryant, the guy from Illinois. So they got him pretty late in the draft, if I'm not mistaken. So third round, I believe, is when they got him. And that's a guy that, so far, according to camp reports, take that for what you will, has looked pretty good.
Oh, I haven't heard about their camp.
And Troy Franklin, who they drafted last year in the 4th round, Bo Nix's teammate from Oregon, he's also starting to turn some heads too. So they got a really young core. Cortland Sutton, by far the oldest guy out of the starting 5, I guess you would say. So they got guys that can at least grow up with Bo Nix.
How
so that's
old
also
is he? Because I feel like
Cortland Sutton, he's been in the league for 7 years already.
I was about to say 6. Yeah.
He's 29.
Yeah, 29. Isn't that kind of crazy? It doesn't even feel like he's been in the league that long.
Fast, man.
All right, when we come back, we'll give you our observations from Tennessee Titans camp. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 at The Zone.
For many of you who have lived here a long time, you already know Eurofix has been in Middle Tennessee area for your European car repair needs now for a quarter of a century, and we've all gotten to watch them grow. And I love watching a hometown business take off. And now we are proud to announce the 5th location in Mount Juliet for Eurofix on Mount Juliet Road, right across the street from Dairy Queen. And Eurofix can serve you in Franklin, Hundred Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. So it's pretty cool getting to watch a small-town mechanic starting in the barn of a backyard of a single-wide trailer and now grow to 5 locations, repairing thousands of cars each month. And at Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty, and your rental cars are available even when you're getting repairs. You better call because sometimes they're not available. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. But always tell them Blaine did you.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. If you got questions about what we saw at Titans practice, we got the answers. At least I think we do. And then, of course, we have the F&M Bank chat on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live as well.
Has the answers.
Yeah. I got some notes. I just don't know that maybe not all my notes will encompass your questions.
Oh,
but
man.
I got some notes, and I guess I want to start with this, Blaine. Cam Ward is it's wild how, and I get why fans are like this, obviously. But the screeching and the passing of babies to the sideline so Cam Ward can hold them. I mean, this guy is a rock star. He was treated like a rock star on Saturday. And he answered his questions with the media. He went and took his time around the whole stadium. And it was kind of like every time he started walking to the next part of the stadium, everybody's like screaming and like going crazy. I mean, it was like Beatlemania for you old heads. And for the younger crowds like BTS, and like it was insane. It's crazy, and like it was fun. It was funny, but like it was kind of wild to see that kind of reaction from the fans. It feels like coming off a season like last year, feels like at least the fans and Cam Ward have a really strong connection already. But like he's kind of reached rock star status without throwing a ball yet.
Well, I mean, I think that just comes with the territory when you're number one pick. I think Marcus Mariota, it'd be really interesting to see how that, even though he wasn't number one, he was two. So, I mean, that kind of is the way it is. So I wasn't surprised, me personally, by that. I was more surprised about the passing around the baby part. I'm like, hey, man, these guys sweaty. And I wouldn't be doing that. But that's me. I don't know.
I mean, that was a long way to pass that down if you go and look at it.
I don't know about that. But, if they wanted a picture with their baby and all that, I'm cool with that. But,
props to, I don't know what that says about, it is hot out there. Yeah. I mean, I hope that baby was like under the shade or something for the most part. It had a hat that I wish I had for sure, like one of those big old wide brimmed hats.
But eventually that shall too pass, and then when he has a bad game, he'll be upset. But naturally, he's going to get a pass because it's his first year. Yeah. So he gave them what they wanted, according to the fans. In the scrimmage there, I guess, if you want to give it that.
Yeah. Someone did scream from the stands as I was standing in front of them. Cam Ward, Cam Ward, I smell you in my dreams. And I was like, well, that's a new one. I have never heard of it, something like that. But like, it was a grown man who said that from the stands and yelled it right behind me.
In my dreams.
I smell you in my dreams.
Is that what you said?
No, these people need to seek help.
Thank you.
If you can smell another man, a player you don't know in your dreams.
Oh, man, you need to get a grip. But, hey, I get it. So, it's really cool, though, to see the excitement for the team. We hadn't seen this kind of excitement. Here's the question, though. We can make fun about the fans. Right. They're being fans. That's what they're supposed to do. But was it this kind of excitement with Will Levis?
There was after the 4-touchdown game.
Yeah, but I think
that wasn't last year. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, so going into the season, at the stadium practice,
right? I want to say it was positivity, but it wasn't like this.
Well, I think maybe I don't know if we have the clip, but Calvin Ridley kind of alluded to it, right? I mean, like he said it. It was like something to the effect of, "We got a real quarterback now," or something like that. I don't know.
The word was a good quarterback.
A good quarterback.
We got a good quarterback.
So, I think the players kind of feel the same way like the fans do to a certain extent. So, I will say this. Fans are crazy because I was asked to sign autographs, Blaine. I don't know if people knew who I actually was or if they thought I was a coach or something.
Oh, they thought you were the long snapper?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they thought I was the kicker. I mean, I wasn't dressed out or anything, but I signed a flag. I got someone said, hey, can you take a selfie? And I said, wait a minute, do you want me in it or do you want me to take a picture of you?
Oh, my.
It was kind of surreal. And I appreciate everybody who did that. But I don't know what you're going to do with my autograph.
We don't want his head to get too big over there.
I better not be like signing for loans or something. Like they're going to take my autograph off the flag and sign legal documents or something.
Better be careful out there, man.
Do we have that Calvin Ridley?
Sign this for me?
Yeah. Do we have that Calvin Ridley clip?
Let me make sure it doesn't swear first.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I mean, it was a surreal experience I've been to in the stands at those kinds of events. Never been on the field. Surreal experience all the way through. Kind of unprecedented access to. You can kind of like talk to the players after the fact, talk to some of the coaches, all that kind of stuff. So it was a real interesting thing. Interacting with the fans was really fun. Hearing the fans talk smack to each other, talk smack to the players on the field, get loud because they did the silent count. I mean, obviously there's a big difference between 7,500 people and what they'll experience in Denver. But I thought the layout of the whole practice was smart. You did some 3rd and long work, which gives you kind of the chance to put some wow throws out there. You got your silent count work, which gets everybody comfortable and all that kind of stuff. So, some interesting things. There's some more insight, but I do want to hear from Calvin Ridley, and we got the clip ready. So this is Calvin Ridley to Teron Davenport, if I'm not mistaken, talking about Cam Ward.
See that touch he had on it? Yeah. He give me time to run under it. Yeah. He give me it's easy catches. So that's what I love about him. It's not, hard catches. He has some touch. He let me run right under it, and it was soft. So, man, that's all the receiver ever wanted, man.
How would you describe the excitement level? I mean, you hear these fans are going crazy for you, obviously, but for Cam as well.
Yeah, man. Man, when we picked him, man, it feels different around here. It feels, in the building, it feels like just really because of him. That first pick, when we got him and it was him, man, it just feels crazy, honestly. It feels good that we got a good quarterback. He's confident, and we got to keep him confident and protect him because he's special.
So some interesting things. The hard catches and soft and touch throws he alluded to at the very beginning, that seems to have flown under the radar because it does, Will Levis is known for his rocket arm. That's also a good thing for a quarterback to have those soft and touch throws and timing, and we'll talk about that more. But he says when we picked him, it feels different, and it feels different in the building. Feels good now that we got a good quarterback. I mean,
that's tough.
That's some tough. And maybe he did, maybe he didn't mean it the way that it's coming off.
Didn't they miss a pass too, though?
They did miss a pass. That's the very first pass, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it was
hunky dory, like you say. You got to call you as to see it. Yeah.
But it was that was some very interesting comments from Calvin Ridley. What are your take on those comments?
I mean, there's no way around it.
Yeah.
That I think he's saying we got a true quarterback.
Yeah.
And I don't, that's no shade to Will Levis. I think Will Levis was a person who was mechanically a quarterback, but mentally was not there yet. I think that's what he's really saying. And naturally they're being connected. And also there's another part that is missing here. Ridley has gone way out of his way. Every practice I've gone to, working on the side with the quarterback, Cam Ward. And he did not do that initially when he was with Levis.
And they had major chemistry issues,
right.
and he still
so
didn't do
that's
that.
when he started doing it, though.
Oh,
then.
yeah.
So, but he's done it from the beginning.
Yes.
So I think there's a pattern here that tells you that, I think really in his mind, even when he was with the Jaguars, he had those same issues. If you talk to anybody who covered their camps, he was having issues with timing and everything else, whether he was running the wrong route or not, or overthrows, underthrows. So I think he's realized that he needs to do work with the quarterback to stay on the same page. Is that way he lives up to his contract too as well.
Yeah.
So because they're been paid that big dough like that, and he's super talented, and he's a good guy. So I don't think he was really trying to throw shade, even though it's going to come across that way. I think he was just trying to be honest and say, hey man, we got. He didn't say a great quarterback because that's what Cam said about him.
Yeah.
He said a good quarterback.
A good quarterback.
Yeah. See,
not a top 5 quarterback like Cam.
Right. See, so at the same time, I think, we're at this time where we want to give positivity and excitement. And, is he happy? Yeah, guess what? Because he feels like they're already on the same page, and he knows his number's about to be, I think his record year was 1,300 and something.
Yeah.
I think he thinks, I'm about to get that.
I kind of get that feeling with the way that practice has been going, but we'll talk more about our observations because we'll get into some of these cam throws, some things that we saw from both the offense and the defense, maybe a little special teams talk. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. I guess I want to start here just to kind of get like some of the bad stuff away from Titans practice. Obviously, Traylon Burks goes down with injury. Unfortunate for him. He went for a one-handed catch, caught it, but was out of bounds. Got up, did a little bit of a celebration, but then he started pointing at his shoulder. That seemed he's going to be out for an extended period of time. The day before the practice, they had signed Matt Landers. The day that happened, they signed Ramel Keaton, who they
the next day or that day? That day. Okay.
Actually, like an hour later almost, because they had worked out Ramel Keaton the same time they worked out Matt Landers, so they knew about him. But what I want to ask real quick, what I want to ask real quick is that these guys are both bigger than 6'2". They're like 6'3", 6'4", both of Matt Landers and Ramel Keaton. And I thought that was interesting that they're both that big because I'm looking at the red zone, first team red zone drill towards the end of practice. They walked away with 0 touchdowns, by the way. But my first reaction was, man, they don't have a lot of size. Not a lot of, big guys with this first team, which is Tyler Lockett, Calvin Ridley, and Van Jefferson. The corners maybe are just bigger than what I thought they were, but they all seem to match up pretty well. Do you think there's something too that the last 2 wide receivers that they signed were that height, that these are big boys? I just wondered. Because I know everybody thinks, well, Burks goes down. That means maybe Xavier Restrepo makes the team. And I'm seeing, well, they're looking for big bodies. It feels like some big bodies based on these last 2 guys that they brought on the roster.
Restrepo's not making the team. I said it.
I'm with you.
I said it. He's a good player. He may make the practice squad.
Mm-hmm.
These 2 guys they signed are better than him. So I don't. You think he's better than them? No. So
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting because you start looking at he's not better than Bryce.
Bryce Oliver's a lot. Bryce Oliver must.
I'm going
Darryl Baker Jr.
Jefferson, Lockett. It's just like he's not. There's no room for him to make the team.
I don't see it. Just like I reported after training camp, if you were to split the three wide receiver sets into 4 sections, he's number 4. He's in the 4th section around there with Landers and Mason Kinsey because it's been Ridley Lockett and Van Jefferson, Elikiah Manor, Oliver, and Bryce Oliver and Chimere Dike, and then it was Burks, James Proche, and Jaquan Jackson. And then you get to the rest of the guys. Yeah. And I don't think that I think they're looking to have a couple of bigger guys on this team because the last 2 guys they signed are massive humans.
Yeah, no, it could be something, but I always said I always wanted different size type receivers because that way you eventually find a matchup that you're going to like it versus different DBs. And mostly, guys now are long with 6'1", 6'2" with the long arms, but those nickel guys are going to be the 5'10"-ish guys, more my size. So, it could be something to that. I like actually both of these signings. I actually want both of these guys to make the roster. So I'm going to say I think they have shown production in this league, not high level, but when they've gotten opportunities – they have shown that. I watched Keaton because I liked him in Tennessee, but he was so inconsistent as a pass catcher. My man Jackson there probably could tell you a lot about him being a big UT fan. But there was times you say, man, he was spectacular. And you go, man, how did he make that catch and then go drop, something hit him dead in the hands. So it was more concentration. And I think in the pros, guys look at guys like that and go, but we can fix that. We can help them with that. We can't teach the talent. We can't teach you to go up here and make this one-hand spectacular catch. And so I'm interested to see where they fit into this whole equation. And then to top that off, the return guy, and is he a contributor if somebody goes down? Or are you just picking a return guy? Because I'm going for the guy that can do multiple. I don't. Yeah. Now we're making a roster spot for just a return. I don't like it unless he's doing both.
punt and kick return.
Like, to me, Burks going down makes room for James Proche or Jaquan Jackson. Because those guys are doing stuff with the returners. And listen, Xavier Restrepo is too, but so is DK and Spears. Like, those seem to be the two main guys that they're probably going to get involved in the returner aspect of special teams. So where does that leave everybody else? And I'm telling you, we've been saying it on this show. I've been saying it on Football and Other F-Words. I've been saying it on Twitter. And I have to reiterate again. Bryce Oliver is a lock for this team. He is making this barring injury, no doubt. Clip it off if I'm wrong and play it till I'm dead. I don't care. He is making this team, and he was
outside of an injury.
Outside of an injury, he is making this team. And if Xavier, because a lot of people, I said that in my notes that Bryce Oliver is making this team, and he's a lock, and everybody's like, well, he's not getting there over Xavier Restrepo. I said, he is a lock. Xavier Restrepo may be on this team in addition to Bryce Oliver. I wouldn't say that, and I lean with you. I don't think Xavier Restrepo is making this team. But it's Bryce Oliver season, baby. Buckle up.
I think when you look at this receiver group and the way you split it up into threes, those top two groups of three are all locks to make the roster.
I think they're locks.
And you're probably looking for two receivers out of that next group of six to make the roster, and that's on the high end. That's if you keep 8 wide receivers, which I think the Titans probably will keep 7. So really you're looking for one guy out of that 6 to make your roster, and I just don't think with the height of the pass catchers they've added that Xavier Restrepo really fits what they probably want in that 7th receiver, which is going to be a big guy who also can contribute on special teams.
I'm with you. And, Ramel Keaton had 64 special team snaps last year.
Keaton was solid, man. I was even watching the preseason. So, with the Raiders, because I wanted to make sure my eyeballs was right because I thought he was going to make the roster, and he did. So, with the Raiders, didn't he? Yeah.
He did for a while. I believe he went to their practice squad.
He's the last guy on talking about. So, eventually, they're going to find a way if injuries start happening that you're not on the roster.
Because Colton Dowell goes down, they bring in Matt Landers. Traylon Burks goes down, or Colton Dowell didn't get injured. He got cut, released. And then Traylon Burks goes down, they bring in Ramel Keaton. They're looking for those bigger guys.
I would lean into that. I think so. Now, bigger is not always better, but I think in this case, I think they're saying based off what we have, and they already know where it's only really one spot, like you mentioned. So, what has Restrepo? Let's ask this: what has Restrepo done to make you think he deserves to be on the roster? Don't talk about college.
Oh, then nobody's going to be able to answer your question. Is what I've come to find out.
There's no answer to that. Like I like the guy too, but I got to be honest with you. Be the GM. If you're trying to pick your best 7 guys, he's outside looking in. I hate it.
And I don't even think they keep 7 wide receivers.
Great players in college that don't make NFL rosters. There have been many. So it's just a different ball game. It's the best of the best. And doesn't mean that he can't work his way and be on the practice squad and get released, and whether it's this practice squad or somebody else, and then get elevated and get an opportunity, and boom, now he's on a roster. But just based off what they're doing here, man, I don't see it right now.
It's a lot of what I saw at the Senior Bowl that kind of was like a little shocking and jarring for me about Xavier Restrepo. What you got, Jackson?
You guys have both been to practice. Have you guys noticed him at all?
And that is
and I know you were watching the receivers.
Yeah, that's a media wide thing too.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything about. I've seen things about other receivers. Traylon Burks got a lot of pub before he got injured, and just like players that have surprised early on in the camp, and he has not been on that list. And I think for him to have a chance at making the initial 53 with this franchise, he would have had to probably started popping a little bit.
Yeah,
by the way, man, I know it's hard to say. I know a lot of people talking about Burks had a shot at me, but man, I sure feel for the guy getting injured, and every year that he's been on the team. And by the way, go back and look his release, and then how he pulls away from that guy and made even though it was out of bounds, made a great catch. You just guys like that. You just say there's luck to some parts of this game that you just can't predict. And when he had to seize his moment and had to really, show up,
he got injured
just
again.
A snake. He's just snake bitten.
It's just, man. And he might have been at the bottom of the roster and maybe even had a shot at making it. But that's going to put him behind the 8 ball. But it may save him a little bit. Depends on what the Titans decide to do with him now. They could put him on that IR for 3 or 4 weeks, and then all of a sudden, they wait till the season starts, and then they kind of start wavering a little bit, saying, well, we'll just keep him there, or however long they can do something like that. Then if someone gets hurt on their team, at least they know he knows the system, and he's a serviceable body.
Yeah.
And he's big, unless they're going going away from him, and one of these two, both the two make the team. Xanders and Keaton.
Yeah, I think you could definitely stash him as an extra, almost practice squad player with this injury.
Let's talk about Cam Ward's performance because it's getting a lot of hype. And I do think there were things, if you're a Tennessee Titans fan or even media member, some things that he did really good. There were some things he did really bad, too. I mean, because that interception to James Williams, it is an example of what you're going to get with Cam Ward, because if you look at that James Williams interception and that Tyler Lockett completion, that is the Jekyll and Hyde you get with Cam Ward, whereas with Will Levis, you sometimes wouldn't get the high after an interception like that.
Right.
And they were working on 3rd and long during this series, but that was a ill-advised throw, from my perspective at least, where there were about 4 or 5 defenders right around Van Jefferson, and it doesn't matter if Van Jefferson ran the route to completion or if he didn't. That really doesn't matter because that's probably an interception either way. Best case scenario is just a pass breakup, but that's still an ill-advised throw. But I felt like with Cam Ward, whereas we kind of got the quick decisiveness and aggressive tight window throws in training camp Tuesday and Wednesday, if I'm remembering correctly, maybe Wednesday and Thursday. Whereas here this weekend, we got more of that timing, the touch, the throw into spot, the spot throws. So it's something a little bit different than what we have seen in camp. And I do agree with Calvin Ridley. I do think they got themselves a good quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I watch Cam Ward, in this, scrimmage or practice, naturally his pocket presence stood out mostly from right off the bat. He has a good feel for the pocket. He had command of the offense as well as the playbook. He was making tight windows throws, as you mentioned there, outside of the James Williams pick, which I think we're going to get some highs and lows with that. But mechanically and fundamentally, his accuracy, his timing, they were all on point. You can see why the Titans and his calm demeanor under duress, man, that was really big there with, his mobility and poise and leadership. You could see all of this based off how he plays and directing guys, almost like he was a veteran out there.
Yeah.
And so I'm just not trying to get, my skis over my pads and everything else, but it just... You want to say, man, if these pieces come together, they can be a really tough team to beat.
I'm a little iffy about the red zone because
he's going to make mistakes, and it's going to be how he's probably going to throw a pick and probably look back and say we lost the game, but he's also going to make some plays. You go,
right?
Wow, that helped us win a game or helped us put us position to win a game.
Because even that Calvin Ridley play that would have been likely a sack, we don't know if he would have made those same decisions in the game,
right?
But I do like at least him being able to communicate with Ridley and Ridley picking up on it. And I do think that's at least one positive from that, besides showing off his arm. I mean, there have been some questions. How much of an NFL arm does he have? He's obviously still not Will Levis, right? There's no doubt about that. But he's a guy that's able to make every throw on the football field at the NFL level. It just may not be as strong or powerful as some other guys, but he's able to do it. And the way that he was able to drop it in the bucket to tiny Tyler Lockett way down the field, whereas also Tyler Lockett, the closest defender to him, was probably 3 yards away, and there was probably 4 defenders around Tyler Lockett at the time that throw landed in his hands. And again, maybe in a game, Tyler Lockett goes down a little bit, or maybe he only gets 1 or 2 yards after the catch. I don't know. But that's still a great play, right? I mean, that's from him standing inside the pocket, defenders and offensive linemen all up in his grill, making that throw way down the field and putting it in the bucket. And he did throws like that even in the shorter intermediate area in the field, not just the deep, where he is making these throws to where only his receivers can get it. And he's throwing to spots, not to receivers as well. And that's a big improvement for any college quarterback adjusting to life in the NFL.
Yeah, he definitely showed that, that he's going to be a really good player, hopefully, if the sky's the limit and he continues to grow. I want to see him in a game, and I want to see him do somewhat similar. He still did some, things that are unconventional. He had some underthrows and actually threw the pick, but I think you could take that based off of what you're going to see with the good, and then start eliminating some of his bad as the season goes on. See if he can do that. Man, I think we'll be all really happy if we see that.
And let me say something. I just kind of want to get to some quick hits, but Van Jefferson had a really, really good day finding the soft spots and zones, finding the holes and all this kind of stuff. And he was frequently targeted by all the quarterbacks whenever he was in. And again, I'm not saying that he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver or anything, but when you're talking about finding enough pass catchers by committee for Cam Ward to rely on and lean on in moments for them to be at the right spot at the right time, Van Jefferson seems like that dude right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I haven't wavered with Van Jefferson.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people think he's maybe not even make the rise. I don't.
I think he changed that mind over this last week. If any, I'm with you. There's a lot of media members that were saying that Van Jefferson wasn't going to make the team. I'm like, dude, he's making the team.
Yeah, and I get it. Everybody wants to look because he got a good, resume there to kind of look at why and what happened and why he's not got better numbers. But we'll see how that all plays out during the season. But this guy is a smooth operator, and he understands his position. So, we'll see. This is an opportunity for him, too, to prolong his career and actually prove that he can be a good, solid player, whether it's a 3 or 2 or whatever it may be in his role as a 4. But I think in that you can play a long time in this league just by doing that. And I think he brings all those kind of traits to make you feel comfortable that you have a solid player on the team. So I don't know where that comes from. But there's always more to it. Got to have some luck, stay healthy in camp. So hopefully he does. And, I'd be stunned if he's not on the roster. Not unless Keaton or your man, what's his
Landers.
Landers come in and outperform him.
I would be very surprised.
I would be surprised, but I'm never going to not put that on the table. So there's always, some things like that can happen. You never know. He get nicked up and he miss a week or two, and then those guys now kind of start elevating, and he comes back and they go, oh, we're looking at them both. They kind of look the same. Who's cheaper, whatever it may be. So, but I like him. Yeah, he's solid. He's just solid all the way around. Something, you know what? And I value those players like that a lot. I think just as my nature, because you may not get a lot of wow, but you get a lot of consistency. And that's hard to get from guys in this league at receiver every game, and I think that's what I see.
Consistency and availability.
Yeah.
Those are two hard things to come by.
I value it a lot, and I think he's a good player.
I'll say this, going back just to that James Williams interception real quick. Great play by him. That should always be in that discussion when we're talking about this interception. Is that he did exactly what he was supposed to do. He read the quarterback's eyes. He made the play on the ball. He showed his athleticism to close in on that because he was a few steps away at the time of the throw, and he made the athleticism. He's a guy that's really shown up so far at training camp as well. He's been opposite Cody Barton a lot. So we'll see how that progresses now that the pads come on tomorrow. So,
yeah. Well, this is what I'm interested in with Cam, and with all these linebacker interceptions. They're always in zone, and he's trying to squeeze it in these tight areas, and I think he's not realizing that these guys are already set and breaking, and they're watching your eyes, and they understand route combinations and how routes come together. And when somebody's underneath and going across, then somebody's coming behind them. They understand all of this, and so I'm interested to see if he can not throw interception. There's a common thread when you keep throwing to pretty much the same guys right there in that hash area.
Same position, too.
That means they're on to something, and it's more than just you. It's also route combination, understanding how you're trying to attack their defense and their position. So I wouldn't be throwing there.
Probably so. I mean, to be honest with you, now that you kind of talk about it, it's just
I wouldn't be throwing
Yeah.
it like, okay, I get it. This is the time to test
Right.
it and see, how far we go. But hey, now it's going to have to happen in a game
Yeah.
for you to a preseason game for you to come to realization. These are the things I'm watching for him to see if he grows from it. Just periodically,
instead of going for that spot, go for a different spot, attack
yeah.
the defense somewhere else.
Yeah, and maybe look them off.
Yeah.
Something. Try to play around with different things. This is the time to test, especially in these preseason games and practice, and take some risks sometimes. And I think that's what he's doing. But he keeps showing that Cody Barton is a really sharp, smart player. As I mentioned from watching on film, I love what I saw from him, and then he's doing exactly what I thought. And James Williams is a super athletic. He is Keith Bulluck converted.
Yeah.
People forget Keith Bulluck was a safety at Syracuse and was converted his last 3 years. So that's exactly what he is. So this dude is athletic. He understands how the quarterbacks try to play because he's a converted safety.
Yep.
See, so those are it becomes his edge in a game with his size.
All right, when we come back, we'll wrap up our discussion of what we saw Saturday, kind of do a little rapid fire. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here at 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to get in. Last call for phone call. Just real quick, J.C. Latham looked really good out there. Out of all the offensive linemen, he probably was the only one that actually just noticed by chance. I just had caught him putting Draymond Jones in the dirt. Took him a ride for all the way around to the behind Cam Ward and put him in there, which is good. I mean, that's what you want to see your right tackle do. Good effort by Draymond Jones to try to get a pressure, but J.C. Latham kept him in check. We'll see pads come on tomorrow. That's the big, interesting storyline that will start to develop as pads come on, is how does this offensive line look against this defensive line going forward? Did you notice any other standout players or plays that you think we failed to mention?
No, not really. I'm interested to see for the pads for the offensive linemen. That helps them out a lot going against the D lineman. It was kind of a little unfair.
Yeah.
There. So it looked like a couple times for sure. There were sacks, even though Cam kept kind of playing the lie for the fans. So I love to see how the protection comes into play, because if Moore Jr. and Latham gets comfortable, more and more with the right side, which I think he will be since that's his original spot, I think Cam Ward can do some real work as a quarterback. So we shall see, even as a young player. They have to protect him. You even heard Calvin Ridley even say that too.
Yep.
When he was made that statement about we got a good quarterback. He said we got to protect him. We got to make plays for him. He kind of went down the list. So not really. No.
Chig continues to stand out. It continues to be a good favorite target for Cam Ward. And yeah, you're right. I mean, he looks built.
Boy, I told you. It's
yeah.
Oh, I was like, hey, man, I don't know, man. I think Chig going to be all right. You better slow your roll.
I don't know what he was doing over on his trips to Asia. I don't know if that's all that katana sword swinging that he was doing.
Vacations he went on?
Yeah, all those vacations he went on. But whatever he was doing over there, it worked. It looks like it worked.
I wonder if he was doing that same workout the sloths were doing when I saw him out in the team. Just hang there for hours upon hours. I was like,
sloths are pretty strong too.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, see,
Jackson's doing it.
You look like you're straight at Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Like, what an incredible feat there if he was doing something like that.
I thought Brandon Allen had an up and down practice, but I think that he is starting to show that he should be quarterback 2 out of the other 2 quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
But I do think he struggles. It looks like a struggle or a strain every time he has to throw the ball further than like 5 or 6 yards.
I'm hoping the Titans... maybe he gets cut, but they come with Jameis Winston because his contract's not big. It's only like $3 or $4 million or whatever. I just want him for pure entertainment purposes, for sure, as a backup. But I think at least you know what you get. He's capable of winning some games.
Yeah.
So if you're serious about trying to win some games, man, I ain't nothing against Brandon Allen, man. But
I thought Jaquan Jackson put together a nice little day. I mean, nothing spectacular, but he was kind of a steady Eddie kind of guy when he was playing with Brandon Allen and Tim Boyle. I mean, again, we're talking about wide receiver 7 right now, but I mean, he had a fine day. Chimere Dike was used in a lot of different ways. He was getting open on some cross the field routes and everything like that. There was a drag boot from right to left, where Chimere Dike went from the right side of the field to left that Brandon Allen made. That was a nice little chunk play. Third down offense looked good. I thought that for the most part, when Cam Ward was in, silent count offense looked pretty good for the most part.
But
when Cam Ward was in, was you're going to have to do a lot. Red zone offense was pretty dreadful. It was pretty dreadful. Of all things at practice, that instilled in me a lot of terror. I'm very scared. Maybe the idea is just to score from outside the red zone. I don't know. But that was bad.
Okay. Well, hold on. I told you in the red zone, I really love playing the red zone because
defense was all over that.
It's so much easier. The field is shorter, but he'll find his alleys and ways to Cam and to make some plays. They'll be okay. Just don't push the panic button just because whether one side of the ball did well or didn't do it in the red zone or third down. You got to remember they're still growing, and every day, these guys are super competitive. So one day, one side of the ball probably try to win or win half the day next day, and these guys they didn't get where they were without being super competitive.
Yeah.
So
Tyjae Spears continues to look just super explosive.
Well, he's got some extra juice there.
My gosh.
A lot of these dudes don't have.
We talked about those 8 20-plus yard runs. I don't know how many of those were Tyjae versus Tony, but that number may increase if Tyjae Spears can stay healthy. I do think they want to get Tyjae Spears more involved with this offense. It's just that he's also going to have to be available, and they're also going to have to learn the right times to pull the trigger and ride the hot hand as well. Felt like at the beginning of the year last year, there was just such an imbalance, and I don't know, of an unwillingness to maybe play Tyjae Spears more at the beginning, but right now, Tyjae Spears looks like a man on a mission. He looked like, to me, out of the entire week, the most consistent, I guess you would label him a playmaker, the most consistent playmaker on offense throughout the entire week. I thought he had a really good week the days I was out there.
Yeah, Spears, always has looked with that extra juice, like he's got another gear during this time. But just always remember, the guys are getting paid, or the guys that's going to be out there, or if not, the organization looks like we made not the right decision. So that's why I never thought Spears was going to play a lot last year, because they had just signed Pollard, and they want to prove that this guy is the guy. So now how to manage that is always a tough task when you got a guy like that, coming off bench. To me, they should just put him in on third down, and he's the guy that also can run between the tackles. So any passing, doesn't have to be third down, any passing situations that you think he could be an impact. Also in the running game, he's also a good pass protector too, being a small guy. So tough guy. I just think there are certain offenses, like he would thrive in Sean Payton's offense. It's just certain offenses where some guys going to have a little more impact, and then you don't have to struggle when to put him in and when not to. So, but I think he'll get his shot. He'll get his shot. No
just got to stay healthy. The availability is the best ability.
Definitely wasn't available a lot.
All right, tomorrow, practice starts early, 7:45 a.m., press conference for Brian Callahan, and then we got 8 a.m. practice after that, some player availability as well. Padded practice tomorrow.
Real deal.
Our first shot at the real, like you just said, real deal practices, real deal evaluation. We'll have that. We'll have Coach Mack on as well to give us his thoughts on practice. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 105 The Zone. 3HL's up next, and in the meantime,
and in between time,
peace.